Hello everyone, this is a video that I was worried might happen at some point during the school life, and I didn't really expect it to happen today, but I think I've mentioned in the past that for whatever reason, whether it's a good idea or not, Claire and I are both on like a school year group, WhatsApp group, where all the mainly mums from Ollie's class are all just there for sharing information. Oh, it's, you know, non-uniform day, whatever, cake sale, PTA, all that nonsense, just so that we know if we need to do anything we can. And I kind of knew that at some point or another there'd be some sort of drama on there or somewhere, and I've always been worried that it would be in relation to us. And last night, it's funny enough, while I was editing the vlog, somebody just out of the blue put a massive rant in there about how her son's been at the school for 2 and a bit years and she's just at her wit's end. He keeps coming home with, you know, hits and scrapes and bumps and whatever, and she's just absolutely sick of it. And I said to Claire, we know that's nothing to do with us because we don't have anything in our, you know, it would have been in our EHCP, it would have been in our, you know, reports. The head would have used it as, you know, evidence for Oliver's needs, or just the fact that he was misbehaving or whatever it was, you know, it would have come up. So I was like, so we're pretty safe there. And then someone else started and was saying their kid was in the same issue, blah, 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 blah. And I replied, Jesus, what the hell? You know, because it was like one kid had been urinating blood because he'd been hit so hard by another kid. And I was just like, how is this happening? And then after a bit of back and forth, somebody did the classic of just, which you knew was coming, you could smell it a mile away. Somebody just said, it's a difficult class, there's a lot of special educational needs in the class. And I was just like, ugh. I said to Claire, like, that essentially puts it on us and maybe 2 other parents that I know of to at least feel uncomfortable that it might be our kid. I knew it wasn't my kid, but I also thought they don't know that it's not my kid in this group. There's 30 potential kids in this, parents in this group. I don't want them thinking it's us. So I'm saying to Claire, I want to reply. I want to just like respond saying they've got our support. If there's anything we can do to talk to the school with them, we will. But we don't want to, you know, we don't want to be fingered with it. We don't want to be blamed. And not really in a self-preservation kind of way exactly, but more of a just, this is awful, what can we do to help? But I was like, I want to respond, I have to respond, I want to say something. So I didn't. Other than saying that's terrible, I hope you're okay, just, you know, talk to the school, I left it alone. And then there was our backs and forth. This poor mum that's got a son with ADHD, she apologised for anything that her son had done. I genuinely don't believe they were aiming it at him, but she felt the need to, exactly like we felt the need to respond, but she outright wasn't sure, so she just was like, I'm really sorry if this is aimed at me. They weren't calling her out, they were just saying, what can I do? The school's not doing enough, I need help, I thought I'd talk to the parents from my wits end. The mum asking the question perhaps didn't do it in the most, it wasn't a perfect way to do it, but it was a good way to do it. It created a decent conversation. But yeah, it was just all the SEM parents were like, ugh. So I got into work this morning after dropping Emily and Ben at school. Claire was doing a drop off, and when I got to work, Claire had just dropped this massive message in, just saying, supporting the mum with the other child with needs, and just saying, you know, it is difficult as a parent on this side of it to send a child in worrying they're going to do something in the day, that someone's going to get hurt or something's going to happen, and that, you know, you just kind of have to try and work together on it. And it was a really good point and it was a really sensible thing, but I texted going, they're going to think you're apologising when we don't need to apologise. I was like, ah. So I spent the next half an hour trying to put together a response that clarified. It was unnecessary. It was me being a bit of a plonker, and I admit that. But I wrote this really long message about how, actually, because people were saying, well, we need more TAs. We didn't have TAs last year. You know, why is this happening? This is a major issue. One mum said that her boy has been like basically hounded by a pack of 9 people in this class, constantly just going out of their way to make their son's life bad. And it was things like lunchtime and so forth. So I said to Claire, like, we 100% know it isn't us and it isn't the other kid, because they're sent home at lunchtime because they don't have the TAs in place to look after them. I said, but what it is making me realise, I'm reading it through, and it's unrolling, and more people are saying they've considered taking their kids out, they've considered moving their kids, whatever, they've considered complaining, this keeps happening, rah rah, you know, lots of injuries where kids have actually been unwell, they got kicked in the groin and they've got a urine infection and stuff like that. And I'm like, this is insane. Like, I can't believe this is happening. This is a school that is great. It's a lovely school. And I know if you hear me say that, it's like, how can it be great when you've just said that? Like, for Emily, it's been perfect. She's had the fantastic experience. And so I ended up writing this really big post basically saying about how, for us, it's like they had TAs last year, but the problem was the school weren't particularly planning enough around everyone's needs. And it made me realise, it made me straighten out a lot of stuff as I was thinking about this, because I said to them, what it's made me realise is Oliver's had a really difficult 2 years trying to settle, trying to get calm in class. And I'm reading all your stories and I'm thinking, it's no wonder he kept legging it out of class. Like, school's issue was he kept fleeing the classroom. He wouldn't sit and just do the work. He kept getting up and trying to leave when he was upset. And we weren't figuring out particularly what was causing him to go from 0 to 100 in a split second, other than, you know, he didn't want to work or whatever. But I said, if this is happening, that every parent in here is saying their kids are actually getting beaten up on a daily basis, their class must be manic. It must be hell. And also, it makes a lot of sense that a lot of kids are really stressing in there. And if it's that stressful for kids that have got typical needs, it's a kid like Ollie, that's, you know, that's times a million kind of thing. It's much higher, which is, I said, this makes me feel like, for the first time, it's starting to make sense that there's these days when they come back from lunch and he just flips and he just kicks off and he's ended up outside in seclusion or whatever. And I was explaining to them that the school spent a year not doing enough about that before they have put things in place. And my point I was trying to say to them was, like, we've had to put a lot of effort into meeting with them and asking them what they're going to do and getting the EHCP, the legal document, to say this is what the school must do legally. And I felt like I sent it to Claire because it was a bit like, why, like, I better send her what I'm saying after saying that what she said made us look a little bit culpable. So she read through, she said, no, I'm happy with that. And we said that like, the teacher who's got now is amazing. I'm absolutely confident in her. She's done an amazing job this term. But I said, last time I feel like, in hindsight, it wasn't the last year, the last 2 years, the last two teachers haven't been very good. And they haven't handled this at all. And the school haven't handled this. And it's no wonder we've got the issues we've got with Ollie at school, and it's getting better at the moment. It's no wonder that other people have had other issues, and it's frustrating knowing that they're still obviously keeping us at bay, which I'll cover that in a second because I got a response to my email, which is very annoying. But so we're going back and forth chatting about this, and firstly, I was very relieved that literally response number 1 to my thing was really irritating. They misread it because I said something like, the school always tells us when something happens with Oliver, and we know that nothing has happened with Oliver in at least 6 months to 8 months, possibly even longer. This lady replied, who I know in reception and in nursery before, they had a load of new kids start and they were all really boisterous and fought a lot, and Oliver joined in that fighting, and one kid kept getting hit and he ended up in Oliver's class. And I guess, weirdly, they went to each other's parties, they seemed to get on fine, but weirdly the mum decided to ask, like, if you feel so heartbroken about it, why aren't you doing something about it? And I was like, whoa, don't, like, I said, I don't, like, I was a bit like, I didn't say that, because I'm like, I said something like, the school will tell the parents, and I'm sure the parents involved feel heartbroken. And she was like, if you feel heartbroken, why would you send your son into that environment? And I was like, I don't. Like, my problems are solved. Like, the EHCP, the sensory room, all the stuff they're doing have meant that we've had a fantastic few months. Our issues are very much resolved. And then I had this moment of like, oh no, is this something they've not told us about? I was genuinely worrying that we hadn't been told, or the other parents were going to go, well, actually, it's this. But fortunately, the original mum and another mum both went, this has nothing to do with, like, Oliver, it is not him at all. That same mum then, I don't know if she just realised she'd overstepped, or because she did say, I'm not trying to be rude. She was asking me, if Oliver's getting so stressed and upset in the classroom, why would you send him into that environment? If you're so heartbroken, why would you let that carry on? If it's so, and all this. So she kind of sent a mixed message, but then she asked, she said she knows apparently who this is, because she said, actually, whilst there are SEN children in the class, there is a sizable group of non-SEN children who are doing this, and they are causing the issue. And then the other parents said it definitely wasn't Oliver, and said that they don't think it's any of the kids with SENs. And it just kind of kicked off into a massive hoo-ha then. I spent all day like relaying it to my colleague, just talking about it, because it was just I just can't believe, like, I feel like there's going to be a big meeting at the school. Hopefully it's going to drive a lot of change and we're going to get more TAs in and whatnot. I am worried that when Oliver gets his one-to-one TA in the afternoons, it's going to end up being a split TA across the whole class type job. And I don't really know how to preemptively say, if she's doing other work, I'm not going to be happy, because the report says he needs one-to-one through that afternoon. I just feel like they shouldn't be bending it to fit whatever. But it was interesting seeing how many people aren't getting any support in the class, and it's this massive issue that's been bubbling along. And I feel a bit weirdly, I was trying to explain this to Claire, weirdly I feel a bit better knowing that, because she was like, oh, that feels like it shouldn't, the whole conversation was just a bit of a mess. But then some people were saying they're glad it happened because we were all talking and we've all been open, we've all been very civil. A couple of people were a little bit rude to each other, not to me, but generally people were quite civil about it all. But I said to Claire, if anything, we've actually been able to say publicly, this ain't us, and try and break some of that early rep, because I think the things that happened with the kids at nursery and at school were common knowledge. It was like, it wasn't just our kid, it was a few kids, and they're all clashing. And I think then they become a bit of a, oh, that kid was part of that. And I feel like this is a bit of a moment of people understand he's autistic, he gets very sensitive to these things, he gets anxious, he gets stressed, he will leave the room, there have been issues, they are there, but he's not doing any of these other things. And it was just quite cool that it kind of leveled out nicely, and everyone was like, yeah, we should talk more, we should definitely chat to the school about this issue. So yeah, I feel like stuff will change. I feel like the school will probably have to do something about it. I'm a bit shocked that kids were getting really badly hurt last year by other kids, and we didn't hear anything about it. I guess it wasn't relevant to us to hear about it, but you'd think that they'd have called a meeting. I don't know. Other than that, I emailed Liaise about the wanting to send him back all full time with the afternoon sessions, them handling weaning him into class and whatnot. I was really frustrated because I emailed the person who'd been assigned our case, and she just replied going, we closed your case, remember? Can't help you. Email the main bit and they'll send it to me if I'm your... And I was just like, that's a rubbish process. She told me before if I needed anything, reach out. And she just spat it back at me and told me to resend it. So I've got to wait another couple of days to hear back. I'm a bit miffed because I had a really helpful person, but we found out she'd worked with Claire before, and so I warned them that she'd worked with Claire before, and they moved her and swapped her with a new lady, and the new lady just seemed more interested in closing our case as quickly as possible than she did actually helping us, whereas the first lady was like rampant. She wanted to go and kick the school's head in and make them do everything, and I feel really disappointed that we didn't get that person back, because that would have been great. But that's still progressing. I'm just a bit like, I don't know, we haven't spoken to them properly about what we want to do. We haven't told the school our plan. We still haven't been told whether they're getting a TA in, or like we were hoping that'd be like next week, and it hasn't happened. So I said to Claire, if they don't have anything in place for the second half of the term after the October holidays, then I'm just going to send him in, and I'm not going to come and pick him up, and that's going to be it. I'm going to tell him that, obviously. I'm not just going to abandon him, but that's it. They're having him back, and he's not done anything wrong. He's not on him, but I just feel like they've got to just deal with it now, because it's out of order. That I'm still not clear. People keep telling me it is illegal, it isn't illegal. I wanted to know from Liaise whether it is illegal, but it's just, I'm confused. Claire didn't think it was, and I'm like, no, people keep telling me it is, so we'll see. And I know I've asked before, but I always forget, or I always get different answers from different people. We had quite a funny one this evening, that my friends just had a baby, and we were really excited and chuffed for them, and I was showing Claire the pictures, and she said, "Oh, I got to hold twins today at work," and Ollie heard it as I had twins today. I think Claire said I had twins in at work today, and Oliver just out of the blue just poked his head and went, "What? Where are the babies now?" And he just started looking around the house for these twins because he just thought Claire had twins, and we had we had 5 kids now, and it was just hilarious. He was like, "Are they at Nanny's house?" And we were like, "He's not even joking. He's like, I thought he was just kidding. Like if it was Emily, I'd have thought she was just catching out the play on words. But bless him, he was genuinely like, "Where are they?" He looked absolutely shocked, and we just laughed and told him, "No, they were at work," and all of this, but. That really made my night feel much better. I'd kind of been a bit exhausted after reading that all day and trying to juggle that I didn't want it to look like it was anything to do with us kind of thing. I'd just work generally being work. I'd come home a bit like I'm knackered, and that just turned it right up. It was fantastic. What else really happened? To be honest, there's not much more to say, but it is weird being an SEM parent, as I guess they kept calling us in the bloody group, because it was odd having the parents who don't know what it's like and the parents who do know what it's like trying to communicate with one another and check the whole checking whether it was their kid thing. 3-4 people did that. One person just outright said, "If this is my kid, I'm really sorry." Like one parent was like, "I'm not sure." I kind of came out with, "They'd have told us if it was," and another one kind of came out saying like, "I really don't know. My kid's been hit too." I mentioned the fact that when his educational psychologist was there, they said that Ollie was getting dragged to the ground and hit and whatever, and he just didn't even defend himself. And I said, how normal must it be that happened? I hadn't really thought about it at the time that much, but this is how common it was that no one seemed to care. But it's made me feel like there is a bit of, I mean, Claire said she went in today and she was sort of talking to a couple of the parents, and it was like the SEM parents. And it's just interesting that it shouldn't be bunching off, and it probably won't bunch off, because I feel like by the end of the conversation, we were very in a nice supportive environment. But there was a worry midway through that we were about to be pocketed off to a group of parents that were able to share our experience. Weirdly, the one who told me off almost for sending Ollie in, I wasn't sure whether she was. I'm not very good at subtext. Two women had an argument and I didn't even notice it till Claire pointed it out to me that they were arguing. I thought they were just talking politely. I even joined in the conversation, answering the question very politely and friendly, and it turns out they were snarking each other. But the one who was asking me about Ollie left the group after it was all resolved, and I just thought, I wonder if she's annoyed with us. Now I'm all on edge that not on edge, but unsettled that she has an axe to grind now, because I answered very politely and just said it's nothing to do with Ollie and our problems are not there in that regard. But she left soon after, and I was just like, that's odd. No one had... It was, well, I say soon, it was about 4 hours after, but there'd been no conversation involving her. So I'm a bit like, hopefully she just got fed up with the conversation and left in general, but who knows. People are weird. As my colleague said to me, why the hell do you care what these people think, and why the hell are you sharing any time or attention with them? And I quite like the crowdsourced effort if we want something to change at the school part of it, and just being reminded if it's parents' evening and if it's a cake sale or whatever on. But yeah, if it's going to carry on, I need to pick and choose, I think, when I want to be in that kind of situation, because I don't have to hear every drama going on. It will stress us out. I think that's how people end up with bad reputation for the school, if it's tiny things being blown up into mountains. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to wrap up. There's a plane flying over making all sorts of noise. I hope that's not affecting the video too much. I cut off midway through because I said the name of the nursery by mistake, so if you noticed that, sorry about that. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up. As I say, thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, comment, and I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.